Before this episode starts, I would like to mention that this discussion does contain Yooka-Laylee spoilers, and this discussion is about a month old. This recording was done on May 16th, and we recorded this before the green and purple patch was announced. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of this discussion. Hey guys, welcome to another Yooka-Laylee episode discussion. I'm Evan Lin, and I'm joined by Sam, also known as RareWarington.
Well, hey!
And Rasmus from Rasmusic.
Hello.
So Yooka-Laylee has been out for over a month now, and it's received a 73 out of 100 on Metacritic, 84% positive on Steam, 4.7 out of 5 on Microsoft Xbox One Store, and 4.5 out of 5 on the PlayStation Store. However, the game is considered to be incredibly mixed. Reviewers such as Video Game Donkey and Jim Sterling was incredibly disappointed. Other YouTubers such as Arlo was pretty mixed. And then there's others who completely love the game, like The Completionist and Josh from Really Freaking Clever. We'll be giving our overall thoughts on Yooka-Laylee, talk about our original expectations for the game, what we enjoyed about the game, what we didn't like, what we were disappointed in, and what we would like to see in future patches and the future sequels, and our personal ratings for the game. So I think we can all agree, before Yooka-Laylee came out, we all expected a 3D platformer revival, but what was your guys' other expectations? For example, what did you guys expect for the general gameplay, characters, music, or world designs? For me, I was expecting what a lot of other old Rare fans expected out of a Rare-esque platformer. For an example, a while back I made this one picture. About a year ago, a lot of the information came out on Yooka-Laylee, like the curtains were opened. I wrote a comparison list, which I'll put up on the screen right now, where it shows the pages equals jiggies, quills equals notes. So it shows all these comparisons, what the things in Yooka-Laylee equal to from Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie. And because I expected the game originally to be very, very similar. Of course, there were some differences, but I expected the game to be very similar. How about you guys? What was your guys' expectations on the game?
Yeah, you know, that comparison, I really love the direct image comparison there. I expected a fan service, I guess, and that's really what we got, you know. I went with expectations to hearing "what hey" one time. I got two, so ultimate gold immediately. So, but yeah, I mean, really, like, it's like you said, it's a rare revival. Like, that aesthetic that so many of us older fans really like have grown to love, or, you know, have just become accustomed to recently. And we got that aesthetic back, you know, that kind of adventure that's in that style of world with that style of music and those style of characters. And that's really above all what I wanted, especially.
Yeah, definitely.
I think I expected, like, of course the nostalgic and retro style, maybe not retro style gameplay, but of course the Banjo-esque gameplay. But also, like, they have mentioned several times that they wanted to try to mix off the genre, or maybe add new things like the expandable worlds or the extra mini games.
Yeah.
I expected 3D platformer, but with a spin. Maybe a modern day spin.
Yeah, same here. So, like, I was expecting out of the retro minigames to be kind of something similar. I was actually, when I heard arcade games, I expected something from, like, Donkey Kong 64. Like,
yeah, or more retro.
Yeah, the more
yeah,
retro
I thought they were, like, genuine, like, arcade games.
Yeah.
With the arcade graphics.
I love how they went with, they picked a retro arcade theme, and then they took an N64 character and used modern graphics.
Yeah, Mark Stevenson, man.
Yeah.
You can bring those N64 Kremlings and just into the ukulele.
Then yeah, there was a lot of things I expected. Just the pages equal, like, the pages becoming jiggies. Like, I expected the basic things, like pages being jiggies, quills equals notes, but when I first made the picture, I didn't realize how, like, similar things were. So we got pages are like the jiggies, quills are like the notes, the tonics could be, the tonic challenges were like the Cheeto missing pages, and then Vendy was like Cheeto. The only thing I think was new was the play tokens, or the play tokens in the arcade machines. But then there was everything else, like Dr. Puz was Humba or Mumbo, Trouser was Bottles and Gem Jars, Dr. Quack, Clunk. There's so many similarities, and
I think
maybe the way you unlock tonics is different.
Yeah. And then I'm still glad I was expecting they did mix it up, and which they ended up doing. But yeah, so there's so much to expect from this. But now
I think it should be said in that comparison that you made, like I said before, that Canary Mary can easily be grouped in with Rextra or Karta.
Yeah.
Throw in Canary Mary, the crocodile.
The old fan service of Rage, and that can be either one.
And then throw in Gloomy Gem Grotto with Rusty Bucket Bay's Engine Room.
You know, it's so funny.
Did you guys like have a difficult time with that?
I did not. I did not have a problem.
I did it first try. I didn't die once.
I actually had huge trouble with. I had so much trouble with that actually. Cause
see, it was challenging because of the visual aspect of it. But I ended up backtracking because I got too scared that I wouldn't make it through with the light that I had, and then I made it through with first try. And then I heard nightmare stories later on of people spending hours and.
And then there's those players who like. Oh no, yeah, I just got the flight ability and just flew.
Yeah.
Cheaters!
Yeah. Oh, I just came back and passed all of it.
Yeah. I had enough.
How about world themes? Like, what did you expect from like different worlds?
So I knew there was gonna be, when we first a year ago, I knew there was gonna be the tribal theme, that was for sure, and then I knew about the ice theme, but then. I think it's safe to say a lot of people were expecting like a lava world.
I was
Casino took people by surprise.
Yeah, the casino took me by surprise too. I didn't expect that. I'm like, Sonic, and then
I really hoped for a lava world. Actually, I really hope it makes it into the next game because.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Rasmus,
I think
you just selfishly want the music of a lava world.
Yeah, maybe.
I have no argument here.
I knew there was also going to be like a swampish world because that one old picture that they showed.
Summer world.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, some world, but that was like a joke. I'm pretty sure, but some people like took it.
I'm embarrassed about that because I was one of the people who took it seriously.
I remember you wrote like I don't think it's a joke, but
yeah.
Someone else was pointing out that Yooka-Laylee had beach towels and flip flops and something like the confirmation of the summer world. It's like, please, guys.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even hear about that.
Please, Evan, please.
That was in it's in Shipwreck Creek even in the final game, but people were just jumping to conclusions.
Yeah.
I mean, I did really like, because I did expect sort of the mash of two concepts for a world.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you guys have heard of Lobo Destroyo,
yes.
but they had a concept where it was a kind of a twisted kind of carnival theme park where there's a volcano next to it, so the lava is kind of coming into the carnival.
Huh.
I don't know if that game will ever come to fruition, but it was definitely cool concepts, and like with the the name slips me right now. Galaxy Galleon.
Galaxy, yeah.
Oh, yeah, and what was it? World 3. I guess we're fine with giving away the names. People have watched this are pretty spoiled.
Hopefully.
I'll put like a spoiler in the beginning.
Yeah, do that.
But Moody Maze Marsh as well. That was a really cool like kind of mash of two world concepts we're kind of used to being separate. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Because
I don't think they got the haunted theme. I think they could have included more of that actually.
Yeah.
Because
so.
That was like pumpkins maybe, but
they could have done
that,
more. But I think it was meant to be a haunted swamp world. So I was like, at first there's so many theories about it. So people were like, no, it's a swamp world. No, it's a haunted world. And Playdonic's like, why not both?
Part of me thought at the beginning of it was like because I saw Andy and Grant kind of teasing each other on Twitter about Andy was saying I gave Grant this such and such idea that was good or whatever reiteration of his music, but I almost feel like Grant did the music for Moody Maze Marsh to make it Moody Maze Marsh. Like they heard his darker music and were like, oh well, okay, that's gonna work, but that's total theory. I have no idea, but. I love the world.
It was good.
How about the characters? Like, what did you expect when... Okay, let's go all the way back. When you saw the
eyes?
Yeah, the eyes in the bushes.
Oh.
That was like...
I remember that so
That's about 2 years ago. Yeah,
I still think they changed what Laylee looks like. In that image, I'm not so sure that's Laylee as the Laylee that we know as now. Like
Yeah.
looking at the image and the way the nose kind of crosses over one of the eyes, I'm not so sure, but who knows?
No, that's the eye that you see. Like that's Yuka's like orange dots. That's crossing that.
Yeah.
Oh, that could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
That's true.
yeah, I see. I'm looking at
His
the picture right
crest.
now and I can see it. I thought, okay, this whole time I thought, Laylee.
It looks like a beak.
Yeah,
but
it looks
it's
like a
actually
beak,
Yuka's.
That's what threw me off. Yeah.
So I think
I was like, oh, parrot, toucan.
Oh my gosh, the more I look at it, the more obvious Yuka looks in it, actually.
Yeah.
He actually
Yuka,
stands
for
out
sure.
a lot more than I thought. But I remember, I don't remember what people thought Yuka was, but I was hearing a lot of like, oh, it's a parrot. With big eyes.
I thought it was some kind of bird too.
See, I actually thought, I really thought it was either a lizard or a tiger, one or the other. I don't know why. And then I thought Laylee was either, for some reason, a parrot or a toucan or a bug, just based off the eyes.
I love how
Yuka was like, oh, it's Toothless from How I Trained Your Dragon.
I love how you mentioned Yuka, and it was either a lizard or a tiger, because it was originally supposed to be a tiger. And then
That's
it became a
what
lizard.
really surprised me too, actually, because I watched the first, I believe it was, what is that? The first time they discussed it, it's EGX, I believe.
Yeah, I think it was EGX.
Yeah,
They,
yeah,
like,
it was.
came up in the
And they actually showed some concept arts that still to this day I was kind of like, well, that never made it into the game. Where they
they're I was expecting I was expecting when I first saw the characters, like when I first saw some of these characters, there's these 5 characters. There's 5 characters that shadowed out.
Yeah,
And-
no, that's what I'm bringing up to
Yeah.
the silhouettes that they showed up, and one of them, if you look, it was the pencil sketch that Steve Mails did of the tiger character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you can actually tell, you see his tail and his kind of buff arm sticking out to the side, and they brought that up on a slide where they were kind of teasing the concept of the characters populating that world, and I went back to that. There's a few there that still never made it into anything that I can recognize. Like there's one that almost looks like a miniature superhero, like the Flash
He
or something.
reminds me like a combination of the Yuka run, but it's Laylee with feet
yeah.
and arms.
I'm not sure what those are, but maybe still to be used. Who knows?
Yeah, like I think they brought it up in like they said, the thing about having like interconnected worlds, games and characters that could appear in each other games.
Yeah.
And they said the thing about these are all the characters that we could have in different games, and they could appear in each other's games.
Mhm.
And I think that's why none of them appeared in Yooka-Laylee, did they?
Well,
Yeah.
who do you think appeared in Yooka-Laylee that has potential of being in another game?
The girl from
Everybody
Galaxy.
thinks so. Mhm.
Yeah.
I think the Blamphibians, or maybe for selfish reasons, because they're in a space world and they're the most comparable thing to the Battletoads that I've seen in years.
Battletoads
and, you know-
Jet Force Gemini.
Jet Force Gemini,
Like-
yeah. Do we know who did the Blamphibians? Like, I just want to. I hope it's Kevin Bayliss, just so that's the same artist as the Battletoads.
Hey, yeah, Hyle from DK Vine, who did the...
Yeah.
I think he probably could easily recognize
I
it.
think we could easily ask one of them actually. Who
Yeah, we
knows?
probably
They might
could.
they
Yeah.
might answer.
Just ask Andy.
I am hoping, because of what the girl did in the game, where she almost made it sound like she intentionally wanted to start a conflict, like a war,
Yeah.
between
Yeah,
whoever she's with and
hinted
the
at something.
Blamphibians.
So yeah, so I'm glad though, I'm still expecting these characters. I hope these shadowed characters will appear in future games. Like, I really want to know who they were. 'Cause
Yeah.
they didn't appear in the original concept either. Like, besides the tiger, the rest didn't appear in, the backer artwork book, or whatever it was called.
Yeah, the art book. I got that too. I mean, you guys were both backers, right?
Yeah.
Yo.
Oh, Rasmus, you had the game so quick I didn't even notice. And that was one of the aspects of I guess kind of going into shortcomings of the project And it being a Kickstarter game, and being a backer myself, getting the game 4 days after release,
Yeah, I
or
remember
3 days after release, it was a tad painful. But Andy's direct personal help, I mean, honestly, like in getting direct information from them to track my order, and to other people that are close locations having the same problem and stuff. A lot of the personal help there kind of, for me at least, alleviated the problem, and it was no big deal. But really, the Kickstarter, it's so hard to work around that, and I really feel for them of all the flack they got just for solely being a Kickstarter project.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that okay. Imagine if Mighty Number 9 has been a great success. I don't think like the negative.
And there's people who still haven't got their copies of that game.
Yeah, but
And a
I think
couple.
it would have been like at least maybe 10% more positive reviews, maybe.
Yeah, at least.
Then yeah, because Mighty Number 9. If some people just think that Kickstarter is this horrible thing now because one game didn't live up to expectations.
And and also with that, it's like it kind of brought that focus of wanting to bring in other aspects to tarnish a game that really has nothing to do with those other aspects, like PR decisions and things like that. But what Inufune did was genuinely terrible, and thousands of people got their money taken, and they didn't even offer a refund at all, which I think may have been a Kickstarter first with Yooka-Laylee. I'm not so sure, but I at least have never heard of a refund, and I know they're never guaranteed. So, but going back to those characters, did you see the one with the sword? Like, my goodness.
It looks like, I'm looking at it. It's a character. It looks like it has hair, so it's either like it could be a female with like long hair and a sword and some tail, or like a male just with long.
Looks like it belongs in the Legend of Zelda or something.
Yeah, some character from. It's just a cut character from Breath of the Wild that Platonic got assets to.
Yeah, probably.
So how about the music? When we're expecting, like, we knew Grant Kirkhope, David Wise, and Steve Burke was doing the music, but like I was expecting when we got the music, I was expecting a huge like Banjo-Kazooie vibe from it, and which is what Travel Stack Tropics gave, definitely. But what were you guys expecting out of like the music?
I think I'm going to start with this one.
I've been following,
Grant Kirkhope like on the Twitter for like the longest time. That's why I made Twitter in the first place. And I saw him tweeting that he was like very inspired by John Williams, and he really wanted to do something like that. So like I think at the start I was like, oh, so he's doing these banjo tunes, but I remembered him talking about the John Williams thing, and that after hearing what was it? I think it was Hivory Towers that made me think that some of the bits were like, oh yeah, that's maybe a bit more like because it's very Banjo-Kazooie Hivory Towers. But some of the things were like that's not like this maybe it wasn't as simple as Banjo, and and that made me expect, because he had written on Twitter that the new Glitter Glacier was like very influenced by John Williams. So I expected a lot of John Williams, and that's totally okay because I love John Williams too. So but of course I also expected some. I think I expected a bit more of the Tribal Stack Tropics, like with only 5 worlds and the hub worlds. It's not really much room to do a lot of.
And some of the variations, variations were a bit more oompa and a little more callbacky.
Like, for instance, that's right. Because they were like more simple sometimes and easy to.
So when I was expecting out of all the music, I knew Glitter Glacier was going to be very unique, but I was expecting like even Capital Casino before that trailer came out, and Galleon Galaxy to also have a very Oompa feel. Well, I didn't even know what the worlds were going to be, but I expected a very Oompa feel from World 4 and 5. But then World 4 ended up being like very jazzy, and then World 5 was just Disney epic space mountain.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. I mean, a lot of people compare it to Frozen, which is a pretty honest comparison there. The aesthetic and everything.
One?
Oh, Ice Glacier.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant Galleon Galaxy. I was like,
oh no. Actually, I think when you mentioned John Williams, I think most of the John Williams is probably in Galleon Galaxy.
Yeah, I can definitely hear that. Yeah.
But I remember hearing an interview too where I think it was Andy Robertson that said that it's intentional that the most of the music that they have shown so far were like banjo like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He said that everyone should expect some more movie type, maybe not some a bit more laid back for the other worlds, because I think just to really get fans hyped, they of course showed the music that was most banjo like with Tribe Tropics, and then Hivory Towers, the boss theme, Bambo's theme too, also has a banjo kazooie boss.
Yeah,
Like,
I think a lot of them really have, like you said, it's kind of like the more of a tone setting, kind of an ambient kind of thing.
Yeah,
like they have the definite style and the aesthetic, the sort of the feeling of Kirkhope that, even in Viva Pinata and more grand OSTs we've come to kind of know and love at this point. But I think, like you said, in simplistic tone or tunes, like I think one that's a good example is actually the main theme of the game. Like, what did you think of that?
Oh,
That's actually the theme that
I
I'm most
love that.
disappointed by.
I think
yes.
When I heard the celebration theme from the character parade trailer, I'm like, Banjo-Kazooie. That's Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah. Or like the credits to Tui, I kind of felt like, in my opinion.
I thought the celebration theme was like a bit too much.
A little
I was
bit.
like, is that? I thought if that was the main theme, I was like, that's a bit too much.
Yeah.
But I actually think that the main theme is maybe too little.
Simple.
Yeah, maybe too simple. Yeah.
I did expect I did expect that melody of the celebration theme to be part of the main melody overall, like the overall Yooka-Laylee theme, but I didn't know how it was going to be used.
I think you guys probably
I
heard
expected an intro cutscene thing like in Banjo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot too. I think you guys have seen probably it was kind of an early thing where if you could go to Yooka-Laylee, the game hub on PlayStation 4, I believe it was, that you could hear that tune.
Yooka-Laylee.
Yeah, a lot of people had doubts in their mind, like saying, "Oh, it's a little too simplistic. I'm sure they're gonna, rearrange
that's
it a
what
little
I
bit."
thought.
They used the ukulele, and then I think was it flute or some?
Yeah, it's a flute.
Yeah, flute to
some sort of flute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit simple. I mean, like you said, Evan, the melody of the main theme, I like it, and I'm content with that for sure. But I think it was the fact that when people heard the other arrangement, the variation of that was just the ukulele and the flute, I think people either thought it would be accompanied by that intro animation you were talking about, or that it would be just a little less simplistic. But it's other than that, and I that's why I bring it up right away. I really loved the soundtrack. It's probably because of, my personal taste. It's probably my favorite gaming soundtrack right now, and it's not of all time.
Really, really good.
Like, what was a favorite of your guys?
Oh my god. Okay, we actually should go into the enjoyment. We're going to go into the enjoyments game because that's what we're talking about now.
Yeah, let's go.
So, let's start off with music. So, for me, my favorite part of the musical soundtrack, I think was probably one of the boss battle music. I think probably Uphill Battle, but I have a bit of a bias on that one.
I figured for you.
Yeah.
I know you've loved it since the E3 trailer debuted.
No, I even wrote that piano arrangement because I loved it so much, and then.
Yeah. I got a little emotional hearing, well, most all of them, but
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
especially that one.
David Wise's boss tunes were very, very good too.
Oh
I know,
yeah.
Like I really like Trev the Tentacle, of course.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Very, very
when
good.
Trev the Tentacle popped up, the dialogue, the animation, just the character himself, the everything, like especially David Wise's Armed and Dangerous
Yes.
tune. I was
that
smiling
tune
from
is
ear to
really,
ear.
really, really good. Really
Yeah.
love it.
The one that I love, I think it was also David Wise. Track Attack. That's actually
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
favorite
That's-
boss.
I
So
played Track
badass.
Attack. I played Track Attack for my brother, and he's like, "Are you listening to the Doom soundtrack?" I'm like, "No, this is Yooka-Laylee." He just heard the beginning of the really
I
crunchy.
think like the World 4 boss is like, I think it's such a badass boss. I was like,
Yeah.
at the moment I was done completing the Carter's challenge and he just like drove in front of me. I was like,
Right.
oh, he's so cool.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the music started and I was like, yeah.
And then
I like
Yes.
this.
And then later on, when you thought you were done with him, and then he just revealed his he made that scary face with his mouth open, and then you're like, oh nope,
man.
you're only halfway there.
I was like,
That
this
was great.
is so cool.
I know there's actually a lot of people who dislike that boss battle, but because of the difficulty. But I actually
Because of Kartos.
I actually loved that boss battle because of the difficulty.
I think it's so badass.
Because-
Like,
Yeah.
I'm really, really impressed.
While I'm not a big fan of the Kartos controls, it really does take what you've learned by you doing the Kartos minigames
Definitely.
and then apply it finally to a boss battle.
I was like, this is easily the most video gamey boss battle.
Yeah.
Yeah, purely reaction time and jumping. I love it.
I know. It was so. And then just David.
It reminded me a lot of Crash Bandicoot actually. I've played that a lot of Crash Bandicoot as a child, and I like the Wrath of Cortex, I think it was called, and there were like minecart sections, and the music from both the Armed and Dangerous and also Track Attack is like, I give me like a Crash Bandicoot vibe. I think because of the like jungle drums or whatever he uses.
Yeah, and then it was really cool. David Wise actually, I happened to tag him to share my utter appreciation of some of his tracks. And
he followed me on Twitter. And I was
yeah, he followed me
Yeah.
on Twitter. I was like, bless ye, master. No, I am not worthy. But I think he tweeted to me, and the Track Attack, he said he used ukuleles in every single track he performed in the game, and there was a few tracks of compressed ukulele, really, really compressed, which I thought was really interesting.
I actually,
What's
now
that?
that you've mentioned, I can hear that. I think I can hear the ukulele now in the.
It's kind of in the rhythm too.
Yeah.
If you listen, it's really interesting.
Oh my gosh, I think David Wise and Grant Kirkhope, they're actually pretty opposite in terms of style, but they're both
Yeah, they
so
are.
good. Because Grant Kirkhope, this isn't a bad thing. He's actually very simple, but he until he gets to very movie music-ish. But actually, that can also sometimes his music's sometimes so simple, but it's so simple that it's catchy, easy to learn, and you just love it. And then David Wise is a lot more complex, and he can do a lot with it. And they both can do really good things with their music.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say totally opposites, but they definitely have both honed their own style, and a lot of the fans that like both of them have come to both of them. I think I think it didn't clash as bad as some people Game Explain were discussing the possibility of. I think it really went well together. I think it complemented.
I don't think when a David tune started playing after when a boss battle, I didn't think, whoa, this is new. I was like, yeah, this. I mean, it didn't I even though they're different, I don't really think it wasn't a bad thing.
It kind of seamlessly fits in the Rare aesthetic, I think.
Yeah. Well, what's your favorite tune then?
Oh, for me, I think you guys might know. I have a few, but the one I think I've formed a bias for is the one I can't find. It's the variation. The variation of World 5 where it's in the plumbing machine rooms, and I can't find it anywhere online for the life of me. But that one is great.
I think another one that I really liked. I have a huge bias over boss battle music. Skiffy Skirmish from Steve Burke's boss battle.
And that one was really good too, actually. I was really overall, because there's not a lot to. I mean, there is material to go back and look at Steve Burke, but there's not a whole lot.
He did some of that most.
Yeah, he did. I think, and he did the awesome Avatar tune on Xbox. No, but and he did Cameo, which I think Cameo's soundtrack is great, actually. But yeah, I was thoroughly impressed by like Up and Nova. And B beating or what was it called? Bebop, yeah.
Bebop, yeah.
Yeah. I almost got Final Beating and Bebop mixed up.
When I first listened to the Carlos Karting music, I'm like, oh yeah, this is a really cool song. But because I had a very bad laptop when I was playing Yooka-Laylee, I'm like, I still love this song, but it haunts me.
I think my favorite tune from David is the Tropic Trials, but I don't really like the inclusion. I think Grant should have done the end credits.
I slightly agree. I think it was okay in that between David and Grant, kind of splitting, the tune we first hear in the game and the tune we hear last in the game, between the two of them being the most, pedigree behind them. But I think Tropic Trials, I think as everyone else assumed, would have an inclusion with a challenge, in Tropic Trials.
It's called Tropic Trials.
Trials Stack Tropics, yeah. But I think it was okay to be the credits theme. I agree with you that it was, there may have been a better option for the song itself or the credits theme, but I think in having its inclusion be the credits theme, I think it was okay, being in that it was the first tune a lot of us fans or Kickstarter backers actually heard. Yeah, it's almost kind of a callback. It's kind of a callback to like the first tunes we actually heard, and then it's got a little retouched because David Wise, can't leave his work alone.
Yeah.
But bless him
it's funny.
for it.
It's funny that you refer to the Kickstarter, because it's the same version as the Kickstarter, even though he did like 5 other versions of it.
Well,
like,
it's a little bit different, I think.
And stuff on his Bandcamp, and on the soundtrack, it has all sorts of new inclusions, but it's the Kickstarter version in the game.
It's actually, I think it's a bit of the version 2 with the flutes, and it's version 1. If you re-listen, I think it's a bit of both, actually.
There's so many variations of that. I can't.
Because the flutes come in.
The Switch trailer had like an entirely
that really threw me off.
I was like,
oh well, that's it.
I was like, wait, did they change it again?
Yeah, I go back to the Switch trailer just to hear like the tiny snippet of that version.
It's really good, actually.
Yeah, I really like it, actually.
But
I think it's worth mentioning though, because being as I can find it online, and like I said, I love a lot of the David Boss tunes. Moody Maze Marsh was amazing to me. I think that was the perfect world of a sort of nostalgic callback, but at the same time having that sort of ambient new feel of like a next gen Rare Revival platformer. I thought that was, in my opinion, possibly the best world theme in the game.
It was so...
I like I can't really choose my favorite because I really like Glitter Glacier and I really like Moody Maze Marsh, and Tribal Sex Tropics is like nostalgic, and
it's definitely
I really like
hard.
Capital Casino too. Sometimes it's like if I'm in, it's depending on my mood, which song I like the best. So it's like
I'd have to agree there too.
Yeah.
Nothing.
And Guardian Galaxy, I really like that one too. So
And then
nothing really gets me like emotional like Glitter Glaze Glacier though. The first time hearing that in the trailer, I just had to like take a moment.
Just pause, like this is.
Like, dear God, Grant.
I remember like
you just hear like the first.
cleaning.
Hear the first measure, just pause, put your hand on your chin, and just like a slow tear, like, this is happening. This is happening right now.
I was going around cleaning and the soundtrack wasn't out yet, but I think Game Explain has like posted 10 minutes or something of Glitter Glacier gameplay, and I just put YouTube on some like audio mode, and I just I even though there were like sound effects and stuff, I loved the tune so much that I didn't care. I just needed to hear it.
It was actually something I really liked. I did want inclusion, and now I'm glad that they've mentioned inclusion of a pause theme, because for me that's a really big part of it. But
apparently Grant like did write it. It just didn't make the deadline.
Actually, yeah. But I did kind of, just for the first playthrough, I did like being able to pause the game just to like listen, just audio file my listen.
Because that's because of your favorite tune being.
Well, yeah, well, that's probably where it born, but that's only because I've gone back and that's the only way to actually utilize listening to the tune.
Yeah.
I remember a little while ago I was learning Moody Maze Marsh on piano. Still haven't completely learning it, but like there's actually so many similarities between Moody Maze Marsh and Mad Monster Mansion. It's crazy. It's
I noticed that too.
Like
I thought so in the music a lot. A lot of the aesthetic, my buddy Gabe Ocarina brought up that he felt like it was the most comparable to the Fungi Forest from DK64.
Yeah.
Which I kind of felt that too. I guess it's the mushrooms and the darkness.
Yeah.
How about the what is it? The game. How do you guys like the overall gameplay and like just world designs?
I think the world designs are like really great, but I think that the expansions sometimes it was like because like Galleon Galaxy, for an example, it's like a really like small world and it becomes really big, and other times it's like really big and it's just like in Capital Casino is like not that much that you get in the expansion. I did that playthrough where I didn't expand anything, and Capital Casino was like almost complete.
Yeah.
In Galleon Galaxy, it's almost like, can I even get more than 4 pages in this world without expanding it?
Well, I
get
can
like
find
80% of the world.
I can find the post that I did, because it's actually like very different from world to world.
Yeah. Okay, what was your guys' favorite expansion, do you think?
Rasmus?
Galleon Galaxy, I think.
I think for me, I mean, we already knew about the expansion for Tribal Stack Tropics, so it took a little bit of the surprise away from it.
Yeah.
I do really like that one, be it really large, but I do love the mountain. But I think for me, I would probably have to say Galleon Galaxy as well, because before expanding that world and I had the fly ability, I was kind of just flying everywhere the world had to offer and thinking like, I really wonder how big this expansion is because this world seems small.
Yeah. I think.
But it was huge.
So I have like 2 different favorite ones depending on the category. I think was it Galleon Galaxy was probably my favorite in terms of concept of like of what they originally were gonna say. So they originally said here's a taste of this world, and then if you want more of it, then you can expand it. So that I like it for that. But actually, I really like Moody Maze Marsh's expansion really well. I don't know, because they gave hints of Moody Maze Marsh's expansion. Like I think there's like flames in the background somewhere.
Yeah,
and I was like,
there was kind of a place that looked like you could jump out to, but then in the expansion they put the jack-o'-lantern pumpkins on the.
So then I was like saying like I really want to get over there, but I couldn't figure it out, and then I just like I'll get it later, and then once I expanded it, I'm like like I just
posted the link to the post with the totals after playing without expanding, and like try comparing Capital Casino and Galleon Galaxy. It's like 4 out of 25 and 18 out of 25 pages.
Yeah. So like going into that though, what did you guys think of the characters, like that aspect of it?
I think I like them a lot. When I compare them to like Banjo characters, it's like, I like these more, but you are blinded by nostalgia too, so it's pretty hard to actually like see this character is designed good, especially when I'm not a character artist myself.
Right.
I don't know, like I know Oni plays, they were saying there was nothing very distinctive about them, but I don't know why. Just looking at them, I can recognize them from almost anywhere now, because like Lily has that big red nose, and then Yuka has the red, I don't know what's called, the red things on the back of his head.
The crest.
Yeah, the crest. Yeah. So like.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Something about those features make it very distinctive for me, and I like it. It's cute. It's memorable for me. I don't know why.
Yeah, for me, it's like Steve Mails. I'm a big fan of really all three character artists, Mark Stevenson, Kevin Bayliss, Steve Mails. But like really anything Steve Mails makes, I never have too much of an issue with ever. It's always goofy or self-deprecating, and it's always, it usually make you smile. Like for me, I think a big part of kind of bringing the old Rare aesthetic and kind of that more of the 2E feel was that in the dialogue and the styling, there was a lot of self-deprecating humor in Yooka-Laylee. Like Nimbo's wife left him for a typhoon, which, you know, the loading screen felt the need to remind you that no one knew why his wife left him for a typhoon. And that, I believe, a trolley that has no name, I
think Jolly. I think it's...
is the one that's diving. Is the only one I don't know the name of, and he's just kind of sunk to his demise, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Oh yeah, I know that one. Oh, it's not.
Yeah, I thought you could like save him.
Same.
Like transform into Yooka.
I kept coming back with a fish, thinking like, if I can get in the trolley, maybe we can push him to the surface.
Because he asked you like, well, if you want to, you can try or something. I can't really remember, but he hinted at the possibility of being able to save him in some way.
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of going on to like, oh, just go on without me and tell everyone the legend of the diving trolley. It's like, never forget trolley.
If that kind of humor was in Banjo-Kazooie, Snorkel the Dolphin would still be under that anchor.
Yeah, hopefully Snorkel on DKVine and Twitter got his, you know, share from the trolley being sunk at the bottom instead of Snorkel the Dolphin, but...
So I remember Ollie the trolley in his design. I was expecting Yooka-Laylee to like cheer him up, but then Laylee was like, "Nah, you have no hope in your future."
You can't think any better of Laylee than to go making the characters feel good about themselves.
Yeah.
Anything that's not her is going to feel bad. But Ollie, I really liked that it was voiced by Andy Robinson.
Yeah.
And I was curious if the rest of the trolley family, because I know they're definitely pitched different, but it almost seems like they might just not be Andy. Maybe it's like Kickstarter backers or something.
Yeah, probably. I know.
But
I know we're done.
Going back into characters, if I may, about I think the only part I love all the characters, like I said, and the three artists are all, you know, legendary in my eyes. But I think the only thing I get is like with the snowmen, and it's sort of a feel of like the Grunty's Industries Rabbit Workers, where it's kind of like almost not a copy and paste, but where it's like the people who are populating this particular world are all this, or you know, so like for the trolley family or for the snowmen, I understand with the snowmen that there's an in-game mechanic and there's a point behind it where you have to get the hats to all the snowmen, sort of like in Grunty's Industries where the rabbit family had a point, or the I guess another example is Pterodactyl Land with the Oonga Boonga tribe and whatever the other tribes were. It's sort of in this game it was the Blamphibians, the trolley family, and the snowmen, and I don't have too much of a problem with that, like I said, for the snowmen and stuff, because it was just silly, and I actually enjoyed having the pause screen pause and having it be all snowmen display. But I think like with like what they did with the Blamphibians, that kind of aesthetic change was good, having one be a, you know, kind of Scottish golfer, fisherman, and all that. I just think maybe just because I think of them so highly, what they brought up of having the worlds be populated more almost than the past games, I kind of thought it'd be like even 2E aspect as far as how many characters there were, but even more. So like I bring up Gabe again, he said like we were really hoping for like a village or something, you know, sort of like a Showdown Town meets Jolly Roger's Lagoon sort of thing.
It wasn't like that many characters actually. We knew at least 70% of them, I think, going in.
Yeah,
60.
maybe something around there. For me, I felt it was like a good half. Although I also stayed away from a lot of content right at the end for that reason.
Yeah, I remember.
I felt like there was going to be even more characters, but I didn't know it was going to be so like cut and paste kind of. Like not as like because except for the plant bulbs in Travel Sack Tropics, they're literally cut and paste.
Yeah, I don't know why I don't bring up the pumpkins or the flowers, just because I don't know. I feel like there's so much of that in Tui, and those past games we've kind of just accepted that.
Yeah. So now that we've gotten more into some of the disappointments of Yooka-Laylee, like with the character designs, I think we all love this game like almost to death, but I think we can all agree that the game does have flaws. Sometimes parts of the game were either disappointing or overall just broken with bugs and glitches. And there's just parts that they just didn't like. So for me, some of the Rextro arcade games were, I think that's one of the big ones. One of the things that I was disappointed with is the Rextro arcade game. For example, like, there's just so much difficulty spikes in them, and Treble Stack Tropics, it's not a very hard world at all. But then once you get to the second level of Cardos Karting, when I have a bad computer, so it was just very hard for me. So it took me almost 30 to 40 minutes, and it just kind of ruined the pace of the game. And then there's ones like Glitter Glaze Glacier and Bebop, at least for me. Those were incredibly easy, and then the rest were really hard again. So I think those kind of difficulty spikes were just a bit unnecessary, and they are fun party games, that's for sure. But I don't think they didn't have to be in the single player campaign.
Yeah, I definitely think difficulty spikes is a thing that a lot of old Rare fans are familiar with, especially if you played like Tui or DK64 or even Banjo with Mr. Vile. Mm-hmm. It's quite an out of nowhere kind of like, why are you punishing me? Yeah. But I think, like, at least for me, I know a lot of people can say like the first Kartos challenge that was actually the Rextro arcade, it kind of felt like it was like someone oiled up the steering wheel or like there was grease the tracks or something. It was like so hard to control. But I think as far as the arcade being kind of that old, more punishing style is okay. But I think like you said, some of Kartos like challenges towards the end of the game, like World 4 and 5 for me, they kind of slowed down where I got stuck for quite some time. The Casino one wasn't so bad for me, actually, which I heard more people had problems with. I actually had problem with the Galleon Galaxy cart, which took me about an hour.
Really? Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I actually was one of the people who had a lot of trouble with World 4s, and I actually had easier time with World 5 despite the gravity.
World 4 was definitely no cakewalk either. That was super hard. And especially putting track attack when you fight Adept or Inept right after. It's just like, wow, this isn't over.
Yeah.
But I like the boss. It was a great boss fight.
Yeah. But it was just like,
I think the Rextro minigames shouldn't have awarded 2 pages in each world. I think it's like, especially when you're like, when I completed like the World 4 one, and it's like, oh, do friends want to play again?
No!
Like, not really.
Like, no, I really don't, Rextro.
Yeah. And it's like, you gotta do it, and you gotta beat his goddamn high score, and if you're like just under, and you gotta do it again, and like, if you compare it to a thing like Transformations, which awarded like the same amount of pages actually in each world, like Transformations, I think they should have had like a way bigger use than they actually have. Like, they should have played a larger role, and Rextro should have played like a smaller role, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think it's a lot of to do with the people who are 100%ing versus the people who are just trying to finish it.
No.
Which, I mean, for us mostly, we're the 100%ing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as far as Rextro goes, I feel like because it when you raced Canary Mary and Tui, you would get a Jiggy, and then if you raced her again, usually it'd be like a Cheetos page.
Cheeto, yeah.
So it was kind of like a bit more rewarding for like.
Yeah.
You get something that's better than the Jiggy, but then you just get another pagey for Rextro the second time, and it's just like, oh, that was it.
I guess it's sort of the same thing where it's like it's only rewarding the second race if you really want to be a completionist, but I think making it a pagey was definitely kind of like binding the like necessity to having to do the to beat his high score, which is mostly a nightmare.
Yeah.
I don't really dislike the Carter's minigames. I think they can be fun, even though I had trouble with some of them. I think that even though now that I'm like dare I say good at them, I think they're a lot more enjoyable to play. But the Vextro minigames are like,
Yeah.
There was something like even when I remember starting a second second save file, and I played with my sister, and I was like, oh, these Vextro minigames. And I was like, oh yeah, you can just go and come back in 10 minutes. I gotta do this 2 times. It's like the Carter's minigames were. I really liked those actually, even though I think especially like the World 5 and 4 were very hard.
I think there's something wrong with the controls that a lot of people have trouble with, because like you can dash, but then not do anything. You can't, other than jump, you can't really do anything else for a while.
Yeah,
and
you kind of have locked frames where you can't do anything after.
And I think
it was a little too sensitive with the boost. That's the only thing that got me.
And because
like, Yooka-Laylee plays so well, like they control fantastically, and like I haven't played a game like I think ever where like the characters play as well as Yooka-Laylee. But
yeah, exactly what you think they're gonna do.
I think Carter's. Maybe it was probably also intentional that it wasn't like it should be like a retro type minigame like Donkey Kong Country maybe. Didn't. I mean, it's an old game, so that was one of the difficulties playing that like the input lag on the controller, and maybe I don't really know if it was intentional that simply just
that being that hard.
Yeah.
Well, I think being someone that I play a lot of, I still to this day I replay Donkey Kong Country 1 and 2, and I have Returns and Tropical Freeze, and big DK fan. I think because it being 3D, like people were discussing, it was like, how are they going to do the minecart levels? Are they going to go with more of a Tropical Freeze thing where it's level completion, try to survive, or will it be like a DK64 thing where it's collect this many before you reach the end? And I think they definitely went for something which I guess they had more experience in possibly themselves, is like the DK64 style, which I think brings up a lot of the problem of having to replay it, because I mean the focus is now on the design. It's not trying to kill you, it's trying to make you lose gems. So I think that's where a lot of the frustration comes from. But to be honest, I think World 3 and the Inept battle I think they were really well designed in my opinion.
The thing that I had trouble with mainly, this is probably my top complaint about the Cardos minigames, was turning and shooting the cannonball. Even the slightest curve, you'll miss an enemy. Like, I wish it would, the cannonball, not too much of, I wish it had some kind of a homing kind of thing effect to it, horizontally. But, not too much. Like, if it was a very big curve, it would make sense if it doesn't hit. But, even the slightest curve will make the cannonball miss. And that's just frustrating, because that can end up, they'll slow you down, lose 5 gems because of it, and just all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, I think the same can be said if there's even a small curve and you do the jump, or even worse the very faithful jump dash where you may just go off the track.
I didn't really. I thought it was a bug the first time I fell off. I was like, oh shit, this isn't meant to happen. But apparently it was.
And I think another problem is that when it comes to dashing, you dash too much, and that's a problem because you can't. There's sometimes just no way of knowing what's ahead. There's no way. Unless you multiple times.
And you can choose not to dash, but I agree. One single dash does so much difference, especially in the Tribal Stack Tropics track. I feel like using dash at all sometimes is just a hindrance, but
but you sometimes need to do it to get orange gems or something.
Sometimes they'll make it to where you have to jump off a hill track to dash and jump to reach an orange gem on top of a bee or something. A bee corplet.
And then I think the other main thing in Yooka-Laylee that I didn't really like. There's some parts of this I liked, but it was the transformations. So,
Yeah, World 3, I must say it like really surprised me.
Yeah. Oh, I was surprised
like
by that one. Yeah.
seeing the piranha like smelt fish, it was really cool, I thought, and
Yeah.
seeing them kind of do that feeding frenzy, I really thought that was cool.
I like, okay, so I liked the World 3, 4, and 5, but the main hindrance was World 1 and 2's
Transformation.
So
Yeah.
this is because I think World 1, you have one use for it, and then the other uses are things you can just kind of figure out yourself.
Right.
And other people who are more newer to the genre, what they think is like, or even like even people who knows the genre, they think like, hey, when you transform, you have multiple tasks to do. But so I've seen like Oni play. It's like after doing that plant transformation and turning back into Yooka-Laylee, like, hey, we have to turn back into to a plant to
talk to this plant or something.
To talk to more plants and get more pages. But no, all they do is give like small tips that's kind of easy to figure out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was kind of deceiving to put them so far away from Dr. Puzz, like put a couple like flower bulbs with just eyes on them, where you assume you need to go hop over there.
Yeah.
But it's not really much.
So yeah, and then Glitter Glaze Glacier, the truck, I was also a bit disappointed because it only has one use, and it's kind of a tedious one, in my opinion. The main reason why it's tedious for me is just because of the controls.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I mean, it was a cool transformation, a cool concept, but I think it's the point of like, I don't know if they tried to like make it there because it was so icy, but you would like drift with no effort whatsoever. Like hitting the joystick, since going forward on the joystick was also the gas, you would have to turn without hitting forward on the joystick at all. Otherwise, you would just drift right off if you were on like a thin platform.
Yeah.
I actually liked all the transformations, but I think they have like they should have had like more uses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Evan.
Like,
I think
okay,
it's the
like
first
because
two.
in Banjo, definitely there was transformations that I didn't like controlling. Like you mentioned that you think it's hard controlling the truck, and well, okay, but that's like the finger transformations is like you need to control this like very hard to control truck to get this pagey, and I just think they should have added more pages to collect with each transformation. Like they could have just taken one of the extras in each world.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess it's sort of like making up for the lack of amount of pages, with which I didn't like in Glitter Glaze Glacier, because like Evan kind of said, it's like the whole point of the truck is to hit the snow piles and get the hats, and it was like, if you think about it, there's a lot easier pages to get access to that take a lot less time. So it's sort of like they would have you jump on all these thin platforms and kind of maneuver through all these caves as the snowplow, just to kind of get that one pagey, but it's almost like they're just building content just for the sake of it.
They have made the point before that some pages were just for the completionists and the people who wanted to do like a really tough challenge to get it, but when the transformations only use is a hard completionist pagey, that doesn't really make any sense.
And I definitely went back after, like, it was one of the last pages I got to go back and get the snowman one, to be honest.
And then I think World 4 and World 5, I like them, and I think because they have so much more of a use. I didn't like the controls of World 5's, but like it had so much of a use, so like, and I actually grew to love it until the last thing I did with it though was the boss battle. I didn't like the controls once I got to the boss battle. But like, other than that, then I really liked I liked their uses for World 3 and 4 and 5.
That's the thing I should have brought up too before about like self-deprecating or sort of morbid humor, is the boss fight, man. Like,
oh my God.
I mean, most of the boss fights in themselves have that Rare-esque humor where it's sort of, it's, does this really need to happen? Like, Rampos is just pissed off that Trousers selling windows and junk to everyone. But like I think it was really cool to kind of do sort of that feeling of like in Donkey Kong 64, the Dagondigo battle, or however you say that, in Angry Aztec, the Dragonfly, how Diddy just massacres its offspring. And like, what was another good example? In like, I guess it's not a boss, but Wilfred and George from Banjo-Tooie, they were ice cubes, kind of that humor of just,
I laughed like in real life when I in World 5 like
same. And I know Conker it's basically the whole game, that type of humor. But like I think it's funny when it's like it's the hero, kind of harmlessly trying to help someone, but in the end they're bringing someone to their demise.
I felt
the thing is, the first time I played, I didn't even talk to him, so I wasn't like guided to shoot him. I was like, I'm going to shoot this guy.
Yep, exactly the same here.
I thought you controlled the cannons.
I think for me it was the fact that there was a barrier blocking the actual boss fight, and I just spammed shooting cannons, and I accidentally killed him right away. But talking to him after, because I did fail the first time on the boss fight.
Yeah, same. That's
why. I got it on the second try, but it was worth it to read the dialogue. And he's like, "Hey, Sonny, can you scratch my craters?" It's like, oh boy. And then you kill him, and then they're in a debate of whether or not it's like, what? I thought you were controlling the cannons lately.
Yeah, it was so good.
I
love it.
I felt so bad. Besides like World 2, World 2's boss, Breeze Block, I felt so bad after defeating them. Because World 1, as you said, it was just because the guy, he was just defending his people from like Trousers who mistake for Yooka-Laylee. World 2, there's not much justification for him. World 3, you entered his house and he's like, get out. He's like, no. I was like, man, I'm gonna fight you. And then, but he just wanted Yooka-Laylee to get out. And then
didn't you do that fake Yooka-Laylee are the bad guys theory? And Tyler.
And then World
Game
4.
Theory.
And then World 4, Inept was just doing his job. And then World 5, that's the biggest one. You literally kill her husband. And then you kill her.
I still think Trev, I mean, I don't know if you guys have a favorite boss, but I think Trev the Tentacle is definitely my favorite. And I still think Trev and Inept are just jerks though, like in their own way. Like Inept.
I think Inept is my favorite. I think. Yeah. But in the Trev comes like number 2 definitely.
And where Inept literally quotes the Connect, where it's like, "You should come closer," or I can't see you clearly," or something.
Oh yeah, I still love how they're making jabs at the Connect. Yeah. After all this time from the toy box.
They really did not like working on that project. It's like, hey, didn't you make Donkey Kong and Banjo-Kazooie? Do you want to do this Connect project for the next 6 years?
Another like negative thing that I've been reading a lot is the camera, and I didn't play the version like before the patch, but I haven't like it. The camera was exactly what I expected from a 3D platform. I was like, I came in and the camera controlled. I even the first time I played the toy box, I wasn't surprised at all at how the camera was operating, and think it's fine. In Shipwreck Creek, when you can go up and the place where Apagey appears later, the camera right there is the only place where I actually had problems. Even Rampo didn't give me any camera problems. And that was in this like the beginning of the game with Shipwreck Creek, and I was like, oh shit, maybe the camera actually is very bad. But this is the only time I actually thought that.
Yeah, actually the same here. That one occurrence in Shipwreck Creek, and then maybe once or twice on the camera would get stuck on a tree, and not even stuck where it was like the toy box, just where it was like I was at a bad angle, and it felt like Kazooie or Tooie problems. I've actually had worse camera problems in Snake Pass, so.
Same here. I've actually had worse camera problems in Zelda, to be honest.
I haven't played much of Breath of the Wild yet.
But like I've actually had more problems there. I didn't have too many problems, but from what I hear from the general, like everybody's been talking about, what Platonic did is I think they forced the camera on the players too much. And I think Andy Robinson addressed this, that they're going to fix the camera.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder how that's going to be, actually, because that GIF kind of almost shows a fixed camera. I wonder.
Yeah, it is a fixed camera.
I wonder how that's going to work.
But yeah, I think what people wanted is they want to be a bit more free on the camera. I think Playtonic may have put too much restrictions on the camera, and I think that's the problem, but I don't know. I personally didn't have too many problems.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, funny enough, some of the older fans like myself actually less preferred the fixed camera section in Glitter Glaze Glacier, which I actually, that transformation, or I mean not that transformation, that world expansion is probably my least favorite. I mean, Capital Casino was a bit bland and they didn't offer too much, but to be honest, the fact that they offered the interior parts I was just fine with. The part of Glitter Glaze Glacier though, it wasn't too difficult, but I had a hard time playing Super Mario 3D Banjo-Kazooie.
I actually liked it. I maybe more like a neutral. I didn't like love it and like prefer it, but it's not like I thought it was bad too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like half of the reasoning behind it was just for the sake of the pun.
Yeah, probably.
I can't prove it, but I don't know what came first.
Yeah. What came first, the pun or the concept?
Yeah, seriously, with them, it could be either way. And I think it's worth. I think I showed you on Twitter, Evan, about since we were discussing Rampos. I assume he was your favorite. I just assume. But did you see the TC marking that was on the underside?
Yeah,
I think we can all be sure that that's obviously Targazan's cousin, right? Like that's. Let's not kid ourselves.
Confirmed.
Yep. Definite blood relation confirmed.
Or if they have blood, that is.
Whatever right. Runs in their stomach.
Well, they have eyes, right? So.
Yeah.
They're both gods or something. They don't need blood.
Another thing.
What other negative points has been like?
I think how about frames? Did you guys have any issues with frames?
Nope.
Really?
But mine was like really beefy, so.
I played it on Xbox One version, so it might be a good point there. But I think really the frames, maybe it was because of the patch they did at release day, and I didn't play it beforehand. I think they were all at the 30 that the console version gets, and to be honest, it's really, I played 60 frames the toy box, and the transition is really very barely noticeable whatsoever. I only experienced lag when I actually forced myself to stay between the ramp leading up to Rampos where the fire comes out. I think Game Explain pointed out, and I really forced myself between there. And there was a bit of lag, but other than that, none.
I got a review copy, and there were frame drops, but they weren't enough to really complain about. They really weren't. I've experienced. I'm doing another Zelda thing here. I've experienced more frame drops in Zelda than I did with.
Actually, me as well. And I only played it for 8 hours. But I heard that they patched it pretty well now.
But your review copy, how did you feel about the camera?
I didn't have a problem with that either, actually, too much.
Yeah.
I'm going to kind of go back to the frame drops. When I was playing Yooka-Laylee, the only time I had frame drop problems was when I was at high quality. But now, but that was on my crappy laptop. Now I'm on my better computer. I have almost no frame drops at all. And then
it's nothing compared to Banjo-Tooie.
Yeah. And then I'm like, oh, that's like, and whenever it did happen, I'm like, that's kind of annoying, but it's nothing to complain about. And then I'm playing Zelda, and then there's frame drops. I'm like, why is nobody complaining about this? Like,
every time you get to a Bokoblin camp or whatever they're called in that game.
And then to kind of quote the completionist, like, everybody, there's frame rate drops in Zelda, and everybody says they can live with it. But whenever there's a frame drop in Yooka-Laylee, everybody just goes crazy nuts over it. It's like, Yeah.
They don't want any harm intended.
Hey.
Oh, did it?
No, Nintendo gets they get the immune treatment for
Yeah.
a lot of things like that. But I think it's also because it's a kind of a balance. It's sort of the same with Yooka-Laylee. It's such a thing that's so precious to people. Certain people will point it out, but other times it's also so precious that they're just gonna, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I think the same can be said for Yooka-Laylee, but it's interesting because for a point, it's like you mentioned, people did in reviews like Game Explain. I think it was because, like you said, I didn't play it, but it might be because of the review copies sent out. But it was, yeah, not noticeable, not a problem at all, and that was one thing I was a little wary of going into the console version. But no, it was.
No, yeah.
I was actually kind of happy. I got it a little bit after release. I had time for my kind of hype fog to clear, and then I was very kind of wary, like reading so many reviews, but I could not have been like more like beamed with happiness when I first played it, and like so reassured how wrong so much of the complaints I read were. I was beaming. It was great.
Like all the complaints, like were there any other big ones that we should like talk about?
Let's
Like,
see. Jim
from the
Sterling
reviewers,
can't
not
play
us.
games.
So I think we covered most of the majority.
Yeah, didn't we?
I think. Yeah. Oh no. Well, there's one more. How about the controls about Flappy Flight?
I didn't really have a problem with it.
Yeah. What do you mean about it specifically? Like,
I think-
kind of gaining height?
I don't think it was gaining height. For me, it was just trying to go right and left. I think they made too much of a big circle. If you were trying to make a circle, it was way too they just don't steer enough, I don't think.
Yeah, I think too it might be that for me it helped to focus. Like with Banjo and Kazooie, they kind of did almost a Superman position almost
Yeah.
when they were flying, right? But with Yooka and Laylee, I kind of just look at Laylee and think of, I guess it's how Steve Mails said out, kind of depending on what task they're doing at the time. It kind of like one might take more charge than the other. Like if they're on the top of the water, it kind of seems like Laylee is steering, like kind of pulling his head in the direction to go and stuff. But for the flying, I kind of just looked at Laylee more. Like whatever direction she was pointing was usually the direction I would go in. But yeah, I think it might have been a little bit of the position they were in, because although it was very new, it's pretty unique. Like the way Laylee would kind of just lift by the hand even. I thought it was interesting.
So I think we've gone over quite a amount of like what we're disappointed in, but like we have a patch coming in soon, so there might be other patches too after this. What would you guys like to see in future patches, including DLC?
Rasmus, go ahead.
Well, like most of the things I want to see is coming in the next patch. So, like the pause music and of course bug fixes and such, like the casino token glitch that a lot of people have experienced. I didn't
see. I haven't experienced that actually. I heard it was the biggest one.
I didn't, but it was something like about dying Ask Carters and not like you were able to die as in the boss fight, and the boss would be killed, and you would not get your reward, but you would just respawn and not be able to fight the boss again. Mm-hmm. I think that was it.
That's interesting because that's probably just a coincidence, but the one time my game, it was an Xbox Live issue though. I lost live connection and I couldn't get my save data. It was during World 4 Kartos, not in that though. So that's interesting. I have heard about that though.
Yeah, not really anything else. Like of course, complaints about the game are bigger complaints and not something that a patch would be able to fix.
Yeah,
so,
I think really all the major complaints that relate to me, even like make any leadway for me, are all majority of just small nitpicks and bugs, which I'm glad that they're still making effort to push a patch. In this day and age, I guess, you know, a lot of people would say like, oh, can't we just get the whole game at release? But I think at this point, I mean, if you're just going after Platonic because they're more retro styled, I mean, I every single game to this point, even Zelda, gets patches. So.
Yeah. I'm also on you. Like the only things I would like to see are like small bugs. Like I pointed this out to a member
The
of.
smile glitch, maybe.
Oh yeah. Oh, I pointed this out to
Oh yeah, please fix that.
Vincent. I pointed this out to Vincent of Team 17, where basically if you in Capital Casino, I'm not sure. I've never tested this in any other Cardos games.
Is it the resolution
No.
thing?
It's it's an animation glitch where if you die, and in the middle, right in the middle of like the transition animation of like the Yooka-Laylee head like blackening in, if you press the dash button and then you do the Cardos minigame again, Yooka-Laylee will actually be stuck in the dash pose.
Oh, what? Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah. So like,
talking to Kartos is actually the only time I got into a small bug with. It was the smile glitch, which has happened either. I've only seen it happening to Rextro while talking to Rextro or Kartos, but it's where Laylee, or I don't know if it's both of them, but Yuka for sure, it has his lips kind of stuck back in like a forced smile, like Jack Nicholson.
Horrible.
But yeah, there's not much I expect to. Or like I do hope all these glitches and like the big ones, like the end game glitch where you can skip Galaxy and
another one like I think we both know about is the speedrunning exploit where you could just skip the Hivory Towers 100 paging door.
That's not something that should be fixed. Like
that's a goner. I can promise you that's
and
doomed.
then I think the biggest one that has to be fixed, and I really hope it does, is the Capital Casino. The very infamous Capital Casino glitch.
Yeah, see, that's the only one that I've actually ever heard being an actual game-breaking issue, and I didn't experience it. But
I actually like that's the Capital Casino like token boss glitch thing. But I've actually there's two more complaints about that world. Not complaints, but bugs. The first one is sometimes when I've left the Cartas minigame, the resolution is the same, but it's sort of stretched out a little, the game, and I thought it was something with my graphics card, but I've noticed on YouTube videos that after they've played the Rexto, the Cartas game, the resolution was also like a bit stretched out. It looks very weird, and I noticed it, and I was like, is this like supposed to look like this? And I exited the world and entered it again, and it was gone. So
maybe a PC issue.
And the Cartas minigame in casino, when you're like in the circle around the
fire blowing, whatever they are.
Yeah. The fire blowers there, they don't. They hover up too slowly. If you die,
at the end.
If you don't get all the things that they can hit you and then hover up. They should.
Did you ever experience the just barely missing that because of the fire hitting you? Because I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Oh no. I saw that happened to me a few times. Luckily, not on the run I completed it, but I was just thinking to myself how angry I would be.
They should like totally like disable or just disappear.
The fire turn off right then or something.
Yeah.
Or just have the animation keep going, but like just disable the damaging, something like that.
I'm sure that wouldn't be too difficult to fix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then another, I think the small ones, I think most of us are talking about is like, you know, if you go in between a couple rocks and then you just might be stuck there, floating in the air.
Oh yeah. See, the only time that happened to me was on Tribal Stack, my second day of playing. But I jumped down and I was actually stuck between a wall and a torch. So I just had to exit the world and it was fine.
Yeah. And then I think another one is at the very end of the game when you're fighting the final boss, I've heard a lot of complaints where in the middle of a cutscene, Yooka-Laylee will just walk into the green acid and start taking damage.
Oh, I've never seen that.
I've heard that a couple of times. Like, you know, they start walking, but instead of walking to their spot they're supposed to walk to, they just go into the acid, and you're forced to wait during the cutscene while your character's taking so much damage.
Wow.
The quizzes, we haven't talked about them at all. I would have liked a big quiz at the end instead of the small
Same, yeah.
ones. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess it was more this time, kind of making up. It was more in a sectional thing. I feel like this
Yeah.
time, so they would do 1 world or 2 worlds, and just you would get quizzed on that.
Yeah, I actually think if they just, I wish they did more of a Banjo-Kazooie Banjo-Tooie thing where it's just one big quiz, because because in those games they actually considered those to be part of like the end game world because they are like so much bigger. But like with these small sections, it's just ruin. Like it's not too much of a problem for me, but I heard lots of complaints that it just ruins the pacing.
I think.
Yeah,
for
but
me,
it does. It does. Even
Yeah.
when you can like do it like first try, it's still a facing problem definitely.
Well, I think it can definitely be said they are definitely easier than
They
Banjo-Kazooie
are,
and Tooie.
Yeah, they are.
But I think it's also a fact of the matter they didn't bring up like, oh, what is this pebble from this texture? What world is this from?
Yeah.
Like, oh.
I
But
think
I think sorry,
no.
to say I think the one positive thing of that aspect was building a little bit more out of the character Dr. Quebec, because he didn't really have too much purpose to serve until the quizzes.
Yeah, that is true. What I think they could have done, like in terms of the questions themselves, I would have liked to see less of, hey, what's this character's name and how many collectibles are you holding right now, and how long have you been playing for? I would like to see less of that and more of like, hey, where's this picture from? What did you do with this character? And maybe like a little reference to what that character was, and like what did you have to do with him and stuff like that. More Banjo-Kazooie related questions. That's a little bit more fair, but like, because sometimes they'll provide like a name, and like they'll say, what's this character's name? Like, I don't know. So, especially with the shopping carts in Moody Maze, I still can't even remember. I'm the wiki owner, and I still can't remember one of the shopping carts' names.
Wally,
Wally,
Ollie,
Wally,
Jolly.
Ollie.
There's no Molly? Is that
No,
lost?
I don't think Molly is one.
Because like I don't think there is one, but I didn't know if Jolly was the one that was sunk. I thought the one that was sunk had no
Jolly
name.
Is...
I know Wally is
the
the
cool
boy
one
with the
that
hat.
says "Yeah, boy."
Oh yeah.
I think that's Wally with the hat,
Yeah,
isn't
that's
I was
Wally.
like,
That's
he? I
Wally.
think Jolly has the
Jolly's the one that
inner tubes, I think.
Yeah, the tubes. Or no, it's the near the Rex arcade.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that one.
Oh, yeah. See, that's another one. Like I was saying, I think they're possibly the worst, because at least the snowmen have names that are like, what was one? Shivery Timbers, the pirate. That's great.
Yeah, I wish also they told more of the names. I'm kind of biased on this just because I'm the wiki editor, but we still don't know the official names after the characters came out of some of the characters. Like, we have, even in the game files, we can only review a couple. Like, Shell is the Galaxy Girl, Galaxy Girl. But like, the Snowman, we only know one name, and
Was there only one snowman's name revealed?
Yes, only one. But
the cowboy didn't have a name.
This cowboy one, actually, the original voice actor for that person came up and says he wants the character's name to be Bacon Wayne.
Oh my god.
But like, he said he's never got that confirmation from Playtonic, so. But we mentioned it on the wiki too.
Wiki, yeah.
That might be his nickname.
Well, should we move on to the DLC?
Yeah. Oh yeah, DLC.
Yeah.
So for DLC,
So what are you guys expecting?
Inept. The toy box secret. I want to.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think we all want the toy box secret. Like,
okay, but is it? I'm wondering, because it's so close to the pirate ship and it has all emphasis on the pirates. Will it be directly related to the pirate treasure or not?
Maybe.
I think it might be.
I hope some like something to do with pirate treasure and something to do with like the inept robot. Maybe
anything to do with inept, then Rasmus will be happy.
Yeah. Those. I wish there was something to do with like. I don't think we'll get we may get like a hint in the future DLC of like what the pirate treasure might do, but like I don't think we're gonna get its full like reveal.
Yeah, because if it's like some stop and show up alternative, like we can't utilize it yet.
Right.
But I do.
And I think.
Sorry, go on.
Go ahead.
I do think Inept will have in a future patch, probably not the next one, but will have some dialogue change, or maybe he just might increase the loading percent. I'm saying like 50.
Oh,
50.2.
50.2.
Yeah, or like 99.9.
yeah.
People would. Oof.
He will have some like dialogue change, maybe, but like I don't think and then I'm not sure if it's gonna. I really don't know if it's gonna do anything. Like, I don't think gameplay-wise it will do anything, to be honest.
Well, I hope the ship just flies in the air and takes me to the toy box.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all I want.
Yeah.
No, I think at least as far as the DLC goes, I do know in like the last sort of cutscene of the game, how Yooka-Laylee, I don't know the exact dialogue, but there's something said about more opportunity for them to prove themselves as heroes or something. Like it's almost at the end of Banjo-Kazooie when you don't 100% it, like they kind of tell you like, oh, like you can go back and Mumbo shows you all this crap. I think it might be to a point like that. Like maybe after they actually do add this update, it'll kind of be an extra replay value, like sort of, oh yeah, you can find the pirate treasure and that enables you to do, this thing or something.
Yeah.
But who knows?
And okay, so I think, and then there's also the other DLC. How much are you expecting out of the 64-bit Tonic?
Not much.
A 64-bit
I think it would
shader.
be dangerous to expect a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, I don't know how, like, thinking about it, how a shader works, like, that is a lot of work.
Yeah,
it is.
They have to basically remodel almost the whole entire game, like, model.
I think if they just give it to Mark Stevenson and they just tell him to do whatever he did with Rextro to everything, they should be good.
Yeah. He's, like, the only one who's going to, like, go to work the next couple months.
Yeah.
He's like go to sit there in an empty office.
Do I put scan lines on everything or?
And then he's like, I think I should also give Inept a little remodel, so everything looks like N64ish, and then Inept looks like a Mario Kart 8 graphic quality characters. Like, oh hey guys.
I'm really curious how Yooka-Laylee will look.
Yeah.
Because I've seen, I don't know where the model came from, but if you guys have heard on YouTube the N64-bit remixes of a couple of the tunes, they use a model that's horrendous.
Yeah, somebody made that, like, I think almost just a couple of days after the reveal of Yooka-Laylee. I think I saw it on Twitter.
Yeah.
And they've used it for the N64 parodies.
Okay.
Covers.
Hey guys, so in the middle of the discussion, something funny happened, and Arlo, who made a Yooka-Laylee review before, came out with a new video called How Would I Make It Better in terms of Yooka-Laylee. So in the middle of the review, we decided to stop and quickly go over his points while we're talking about what we would like to see in the future patches and sequels. So overall, the three themes I'd say Arlo was making a point in is controls in terms of being able to move slowly, camera is too sensitive when moving left and right, and also being able to jump while sliding. Another thing I remember is that the bosses could also be more platforming based too. So do you guys kind of agree, and do you think you would like to see this kind of thing in future sequels and patches?
I think Arlo made probably the most good points of anyone I've actually seen giving patch sort of feedback or what they'd like to see. As far as like I believe it's called the Flappy Flight.
Yeah.
He made really good points about the camera tries to compensate for your movements rather than any other mechanics you actually perform as Yooka-Laylee, and it tries to follow you, which kind of makes you're turning left and right, you kind of have to correct it, and you're kind of finding yourself correcting it because the camera's compensating in something that you would usually have all control over. So it makes it a little wonky.
And I would like to also see this like in a more of a patch rather than a sequel. Like I hope to see this kind of thing fixed soon because I do see his problems with it.
Right. Yeah.
Then how about
I don't really feel like having. I don't really have any problems with the flapified camera, but I can definitely see where you're coming from.
So another point that he made was also jumping while sliding. That's another issue. That I can actually agree with because sometimes when you're sliding down, you're kind of sliding down to your doom in the middle of the ramp battle. Whenever you fail.
Yeah, and you take damage because you can't really control the speed too much. Even if you go as slow as you can, you're still gonna hit a decent amount of logs.
Especially on the third phase, where there's literally no escape from that. So, I do overall agree with Arlo's points.
I do think what he said about the walking speed, he has a good point there. But I think also, as I said to you guys before, there's not much necessity for like at least the programming aspect of utilizing like a walk cycle, like how Banjo-Kazooie and Tooie kind of made it. Oh, you're gonna sneak up on the snake to steal his Jiggy, or you're gonna sneak up on the ghost, and you don't want the table to creak. You have to tiptoe. So you go slow enough to trigger the animation, and you can utilize it for gameplay. But
that actually surprised me that they didn't include that, and I think that I don't think. I think the reason that they didn't include those challenges were because the characters just weren't designed to do that.
Yeah, and I think it's also it speaks about like the challenges that they actually wanted to have take place in the game, not be too totally the same. Like I was surprised actually there was no ledge grab when I got the toy box originally.
Yeah.
So.
Playtonic said that. I remember hearing an interview.
Yeah, it didn't work for the type of platformer.
Yeah, they had like a reason for not including it, and it didn't sound like they were planning to even in a sequel.
Yeah.
So we talked a bit about the patch and a little bit about the sequels, but overall, is there anything you guys would like to see in future sequels?
A lava world.
Lava world.
Yeah.
More puns.
More puns. I think I would like to see less, because you can't change this in the patch, but in the future I would like to see less pages required from the Rextro and Cardos minigames.
Yeah.
And more uses for the transformations.
Yeah, definitely. And a higher world count, maybe, because I think 5 worlds, even though it's 5 very good.
It almost felt like 10 though, you gotta admit. It almost felt.
Yeah, of course. But the themes, I could have used I
think just one more actually.
Yeah,
even.
One more.
But maybe we're just maybe just one more.
Just one more.
We'll just keep asking for one more world.
Yeah.
But who knows? In the DLC we might. Who knows?
Yeah, there's a guy on the forums. He is very very sure that a Yooka dragon. He owns that wiki dragon. That website.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's sure. He says it's confirmed that Playtonic will do a new world, and
it's confirmed.
It's confirmed.
Yeah.
I honestly do not think in a future patch we'll get a new world. That's just too much.
If we believe hard enough,
new
guys,
world
it's confirmed.
in the DLC, but I think it's unlikely that a new world will be included. Also, what would be the point for a new world?
I think,
is
it's unlikely, but yeah, it's unlikely, but I think sort of at the end of Kazooie, Grunty was, crushed. I mean, not so much crushed, but fell into a giant hole that she created, and then part of her tower, a rock just landed on top of it and closing her in. And I think it was kind of what Greg Mayles said about what they originally planned for Kazooie. When you beat it, it was originally planned that last bolt of magic was gonna go up and strike Banjo. I think you know the one I mean. It just strikes the ground.
Make him a frog or something.
Yeah, turn him into a frog, and then Tootie with a little slightly different controls would have to go through the same world to collect some different I forget. I don't think even Greg Mayles remembered what it was, but something to, get her brother to turn back into a bear again. So.
Yeah.
I think I have an idea though, if something kind of to compensate for the new world. What happens if once you beat the game and for 100% completion, you get a new small mini world, and that mini world is the old alpha version, like the old alpha world.
Yeah, I've thought that I would actually like to just be able to explore that, even though it's very small.
Even though it became Tribal Stack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because, like Andy said, they were going, because they do this a lot in games. They usually make a test level and then they just totally scrap it. But I think it was Andy who said he kind of pushed that. He thought the aesthetic of it and like what they had was already so great they would just build off of what they already made.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like it's greener in Tribal Stack stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like the trees and stuff. It's a bit darker green, I think. In the demo, alpha build.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think even the rocks were less brown; they were more gray and before. But yeah.
And it didn't have like the red, more like, the tribal
feel.
It didn't have any of the actual stack and the theme. We've watched far too much early Yooka footage.
Okay.
Another thing I would like not in a game or a patch, but I would really like a complete digital soundtrack.
Yeah, I mean we've been on this.
Yeah.
Just recently. I
really
think what was the one called that you put up on Bandcamp? It was Everything in the Kitchen Sink.
Yeah,
I think we want one of those.
It included like even sound effects and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I think it was Dan Murdoch actually, and not Grant, Steve, or David that did the Ghostwriter jingle, which I actually thought was great.
Yeah.
Was it Dan?
It's just a little Dan Murdoch,
the jingle.
Yeah, he was credited in an interview also. David Wise was talking about how he did a lot of the small jingles in the game, and I think. I don't know who did the Ghostwriter one, but I just assume might be Dan. I was gonna ask on Twitter. Might be worth it.
But yeah.
I think a complete digital soundtrack. Like Andy was like, oh yeah, the reason we didn't have all the sound is it couldn't fit on the vinyl. But I mean.
Yeah, I keep hearing that too.
Just release it digital, then I mean.
I think even you came on my tweet, and then Grant was like, "There simply isn't enough. There wasn't enough room." It's like, make a bigger CD. No, it's just
the other vinyl. Just
exactly.
I just want the MP3 files.
Yeah.
It's just this. Literally, it comes with this like fan base that we are wanting. Like I said to Grant, we want to squeeze every melodic drop out of them.
Yeah.
We want all of it.
So we've talked quite a bit about the game, Yooka-Laylee. So any final thoughts overall of the game?
Well, it's a really, really great game, and I had a fantastic time playing it. And it's everything I hoped for, even with like slight problems. It's not anything that it doesn't ruin the experience at all.
Really I completely agree, and I think like we said before, putting emphasis on the rare Vival aspect of it. Being a long-time Rare fan, like literally from my first video games being 3 years old and then turning 4, all I knew was really Duck Hunt, Super Mario, the NES, and then everything after that was Rare. So I mean, getting that feel back, hearing the David Wise and the Grant Kirkhope, not only new tunes but together in the same game and soundtrack, at first was really. I mean, it's pretty much the reason I threw money at the Kickstarter project. I mean, I was mind blown at the fact that could even be a concept that would come to fruition. So I mean, in all the aspect of enjoyment, it's the most fun I think I've had it with a game in years, and probably it is guaranteed the most the game has made me just laugh from just stupidity, or just I have to pause the game to like just comprehend how much I'm smiling. Like that happened literally with Trevor the Tentacle. The combination of the character, the dialogue, the music, I could not. It was overload.
Yeah. And for me, I think, oh my gosh, I had so much fun. I personally felt the nostalgia from the Banjo-Kazooie days, and it was such a great game.
Oh, yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
of course there are flaws and there's things we would like it to change, but I would.
I mean, heck, there are things I want them to change about Tui, but
Yeah.
that's never gonna happen.
Yeah, same. Even I mean, if someone like if I had a long time to think about it, I could probably find some
With
things I don't
Kazooie,
like
yeah.
about Kazooie. I mean,
And DK64, I have a
DK
list somewhere in a notebook of
I can
rage.
find a lot of things about DK64.
Yeah. So.
We'll just
how-
write the arcade machine 500 times over and over and send that to them.
Yeah. So
Don't
how
make
would
this
you,
mistake again.
So how would you guys rate the game overall? Like honestly, how would you guys probably give it a rating for it?
Rasmus?
9 out of 10, I think.
I'd say that's fair. To be honest, all aspects being regarded here, I think, because of how, it's a Kickstarter project. It wasn't to the point of AAA polish. Really,
Yeah.
all my major complaints, as I said before, can be really polished out. I'd have to say overall. And I think also, since people don't give it enough credit for the new things it's brought, a lot of people say it's kind of, almost a direct copy, and that's just blatantly not true.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd have to say probably a 9, of all things considered, really. Like,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I have like 2 different review scores. My nostalgic and Banjo-Kazooie. Like if anybody who's played Banjo-Kazooie and all that, and they played like. In regards of nostalgia, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. But overall, I'd probably, with no nostalgia included as a game itself, I'd probably give it an 8, like 7.5 or 8 out of 10.
Yeah, and I think also it should be noted, like, a lot of our reviews are pretty much from a personal level as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, for me, it's definitely up there in my subgrouping of top favorite games now. So
Yeah, same
Yeah,
here.
definitely worth playthrough.
So,
I mean, if we were really hyped, it would be a great disappointment if it
Yeah.
wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, pretty disheartening to hear the reviews, but couldn't be more reassuring to actually play the game.
yeah.
Like, I don't. Honestly, I don't care at all about the negative reviews anymore.
I'm to
it
the
was
point where I
bugging
just
me
don't
before
care
I
about.
played the game myself because I was afraid that they were right, but they just aren't.
Yeah.
See, I'm to the point now, like I said, reviews are garbage. I
Yeah.
can't trust any of them.
I've also come to learn, like, if you've never played the game and you watch one YouTuber, don't trust the review. Watch a whole bunch of reviews from.
Yeah,
people
it
who
really
like
it really stinks for
Like-
people who are just like they kind of almost like a holy ritual, like anything this YouTuber says is automatic, in my opinion. It's really a shame how you're kind of gonna cut yourself short on enjoying things,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
Anyways,
But I think Yooka-Laylee is also some people just won't enjoy it, and that's like,
yeah.
of course, it's a type of game that not everyone.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of like the
Enjoy playing.
complaints I heard about when Tropical Freeze brought back the returns thing. There was a handful of people saying like, where's the 3D Donkey Kong? Like, returns was this already, and blah 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 blah. And I mean, I personally loved Tropical Freeze, but like, I don't know. I feel like with what, I don't know, like if it's comparable to Yooka-Laylee, I'd say it just seems that people always, to a degree, are wanting something more, like something newer. Like with Tropical Freeze being and Returns being such a callback to the Country series,
Yeah.
and Yooka-Laylee being a callback to the Banjo-Kazooie platforming, I think it just ends up being that there's a certain regard of accessibility that fans that aren't used to that type of gameplay, maybe they just want something a little different. But and as far as final thoughts, for sure, like I'm sure we can all agree, anyone who is a fan of Banjo-Kazooie or Donkey Kong in general will absolutely love this
They all
game.
love
Not Donkey.
Well, maybe Donkey Kong 64. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
maybe.
to be honest, I'm a huge Country fan, and I mean, fair enough to say I think Kartos wasn't exactly
Well,
the
yeah.
thrill of that, but yeah, I don't know. In this, I feel like
I meant video game Donkey.
Oh,
Oh.
no, for
But
sure.
because
though.
like he was a great Banjo-Kazooie fan, you could easily
Yeah.
see his video is like as a he loves
Well,
it.
if you like both Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie, I think that you would like.
Yeah.
But unless you're like Donkey, who loves Banjo-Kazooie and hates Tooie.
Yeah.
maybe.
Or
Yeah.
if you like really despise
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird that he didn't really do a
Musical.
Tui video. His
Yeah.
ukulele video was half of it was just, I'll have you know, Tui is terrible. Like,
Yeah, basically. Anyway, so I
like-
think that's probably going to be the end of our discussions. Anyway, so thanks for joining in with us, guys. I'll provide everybody's YouTube and Twitter links in the description below. Make sure to subscribe to the Hivory Hub on everything Yooka-Laylee. Anyways, catch you later, guys. Bye.